I know. This is completely different to anything I've uploaded before. It's also probably your first time hearing my voice. Hello, I am in fact an Englishman and not affiliated with North Korea. In the face of many takedowns of DPRK related channels, I want to occasionally use my own voice to project normalcy and to protect this channel from any such event. Given the amount of effort that goes into it, and the knowledge acquired in the process, a commentary video like this was the logical next step. I know it's a pivot, but don't worry, I'll still be uploading all the new music as it comes out. So without any further ado, let's analyse the New Year concert. I have an awful lot to say, and very few people in real life who are willing to listen. Before the show began, the banquet for merited persons was held outside Dungdado Stadium. While it's not the most exciting part, a lot of insight can be gained from it and is a must-see for any Pyongyang analyst. This is the top brass of the country, the DPRK's most elite and recognisable people, in an unserious setting for once. Instead of nervous silences, everyone seems to be in a festive mood. Look at Kim Yo-jong and her kids, visibly abashed by the cameras but smiling properly for a change. Yes, they're only kids, but bear in mind these are the grandchildren of Kim Jong-il. Of course, everyone bows and salutes her. Even Hyun Sung-wol, former Pachondo star, head of Moranbong, and personal assistant to Kim Jong-un, has brought her daughter. I'm sure you know Lee Chun-hee, who sat beside Kim Ok-ju, who needs no introduction. Right now, these two are the most famous non-Kim North Koreans. Lee's daughter, or possibly granddaughter, was in attendance as well. Yes, everyone who has kids seems to have brought their kids. It's an interesting insight into what the next generation of elite might look like. Those flashing lights could only mean the arrival of one person. Kim Joo-ae, and Kim Jong-un. She got out of the car faster than her dad did, and they're in matching outfits. The First Lady Lee Sol-ju was there as well. Look at how tiny she looks compared to her daughter. Lee Chun-hee practically hugs Joo-ae. I think we could all do with a hug from the Pink Lady. You know that music, Kim's entrance song, and the whole stadium erupts into rapturous applause. He greets them, but soon gets bored and sits down, leaving them to clap for another 2 minutes. I know I'm being cynical, but I'd happily join them if it meant that I could be there in person. I trust that you are all standing, and can we appreciate that it's the national anthem sung traditionally by a choir instead of Kim Ok-ju? But she'll eventually have her turn. Now, onto the set list properly. The Overture is comprised of Shining Motherland, the one that plays at the end of KCTV broadcasts, and Loving. Very appropriate choices to start on. No complaints. These are maybe the DPRK's third and second national anthems. They're familiar, traditional, inoffensive, and patriotic, serving as an epic opening to the night. Continuing with the female singers, minus the lead, we have a song that I enjoy quite a bit. I've always said it's not unlike an anime song, which may say a thing or two about my fondness for it. Understandably, some find it quite generic, but it's nice to have an optimistic song that isn't too militaristic. Now it's the male singer's turn. All of the women disappear to make way for the most prominent men of the ensemble of the State Affairs Commission. While I prefer female vocals, it's nice seeing these four together again. Wow, the crowd went wild for Kim Tae-ryong. I too admire him a lot. He fully deserves his spot as the most recognisable male singer in the country right now. The song is a bit boring, from all the way back in 1956, but it's another peaceable throwback to the Kim Il-sung era to set the tone for the evening. Next we have this year's pop medley, which aims to be patriotic but fun, predominantly old Pachondo songs that were later revived in popularity by the Moranbong band. Urin Saranghanda, for example, and Bultanen... Wait, Ul Gatten? Was it always like that? I think that's a question many Koreans will be asking themselves in the post-unification era. Since the Marshal announced that it was impossible, all use of the word permeate has been retroactively purged. If you go into a CD shop in the DPRK and an album has even a single mention of the word, they won't sell it to you. That is, if it's even on display at all. So that means a lot of redacted songs and lyric changes. This change, however, seems completely nonsensical, as the word is still used in many other contexts. 불타는, meaning burning or fiery, very commonly used to describe revolutionary zeal. Perhaps 불같은 is a safer option, as it's a less literal way to put it, without implying the chaos and excess associated with actual flames. I don't know, weird. Maybe they're subtly testing people's ability to swallow new information, like a selective memory effect. The map always showed two Koreas, or it's entirely possible I'm looking too much into this. The song We Love Our Burning Life, or We Love to Live Our Lives Passionately, was made famous by Kim Yoo-kyung in 2013. But this time, it's newcomer Hyun Ye-won's solo. Her star is definitely rising. She's not quite at the level of getting an entire song to herself, but I'm sure she'll be at that point by this time next year. My Country Full of Hope is led by Jong-un, as it should be. No one asked, but I love the coat she's wearing. It makes her look like a Gilead wife. My Blessed Country was a curveball that I don't think anyone could have seen coming. If you know the song well, I'm impressed, because it can only be found deep in Pochunbo's discography. But it's cool how they randomly bring back long-forgotten songs. But why this one in particular? Well, it's about the blessings of the leader, with Suryong almost always referring to Kim Il-sung. Not mere policy success, but unearned, sacred favour. This fits in very neatly with the other songs in the medley, as they're united in their praise for not just the motherland itself, but the experience of living in it, all the while remaining fun and relatable. Children's Hour now. This is an area in which my music knowledge really falters. North Korean children have a whole music ecosystem of their own, which I'll admit, I haven't dabbled in very deeply. The only one I love is the theme song from Squirrel and Hedgehog, if that even counts. So I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it's cute. Next is the culture section. Nowadays, whenever there's a big concert, there's at least one traditional Korean folk song, which is great and totally necessary amid the ideology. But I've never been a big fan of this song. Moranbong, no, not the band, the park in Pyongyang they're named after. It just doesn't please my ears, and that's partly my problem. I guess my Western senses aren't well adjusted to this form of music. But another factor is, does it always have to be the same one? This is used for the culture section every time lately. And what's worse, this is the only one. Normally we'd get Hungan and Nirnara thrown in there as well. The motherland and my destiny. Destiny is a very overused concept in music in general, not just Korean music. But I personally am quite fond of this song, especially compared to its more celebrated sister, Song Dedicated to the Motherland. And I especially appreciate that it's Kim Yoo-kyung. And she absolutely kills it. No notes. And here she is, the woman of the hour. It's not her I'm groaning about, although I'm surprised it took 36 minutes for her to appear on stage. Just before, she was seen talking directly to Kim Jong-un. I assume she's telling him she's about to go on stage and piss on everybody's chips. I am being harsh. The logic is, the fallen soldiers still deserve to be remembered even at the new year, which I get, but 2 memorial songs? Hyokari as well? At least it got a guitar solo, without the slightest glimpse of the guitarist, mind you. And even with electric guitars, this whole blood diplomacy business with Russia is just depressing, which make these songs hard to digest for me. But seeing them performed in the largest stadium in the world is moving. Music in honor of them is the least these men deserve. It's not that I reject these songs' existence, it's more that they had to be written in the first place. Here it is, we all knew this was coming. It's taken the DPRK and this small community by storm. Even though Kim didn't seem to like it during its debut, you'd think I'd have nothing new to add here, but there's a slight twist. Mercifully, Kim Ok-ju's nowhere to be found, replaced again with Kim Ryu-kyung and Hyun Ye-won. But listen to the instrumentation here. The keyboard section is a great touch, and is suitably distinct from previous versions, but I'll take all the variety we can get if they insist on repeating the same song so often. It's a good song, it is, but then, Our National Flag was once a good song. I would wish you a Happy New Year, but it'll probably be the day of the shining star by the time this comes out. Kim Ju-ae gave Kim Jong-un a kiss. And guys, is it a national security threat for a young girl to show affection to her father? This little peck on the cheek literally was headline news. I swear, Kim Ju-ae farts and it goes in the papers. But here it is, a once popular Moranbong tune that is now the North Korean Auld Lang Syne. And I don't mean that weird national anthem version. As mentioned earlier, these lyrics are cancelled, hence the newly written ones here. The main offender was Sam Chol-ri, 3000 D, a measurement of territory which includes South Korea. So much so, they even had to rewrite the national anthem and change its name. The phrase was also removed from the song My Nation we saw earlier. The other is 태양의 축복받은, blessed by the sun, a reference to Kim Il-sung. Interestingly, this reference was removed in favour of more general New Year's optimism. I don't know whether you'd consider this depoliticization, or simply more censorship of a symbol no longer used.
친애하는 평양 시민 여러분.
Marshal Kim Jong-un gave his New Year's address. Unlike in previous years, he makes no comment on South Korea or the United States. He praises overseas operations in Russia, as well as the 20x10 project, that national mass reconstruction campaign. He's in a good mood, listing all of the organizations present and wishing them a Happy New Year. But this speech feels more like a formality than an important decree. With the 9th Congress on the horizon, key information will likely be outlined then.
위대한 우리의 조국, 조선민주주의인민공화국 만세!
Now we get into the real meat of the performance. It's a new song, and what's more, one completely themed around New Year. Such songs are rare, and rarer still are ones that don't praise the leader in some way. But here we are. New Year's Wish is truly a breath of fresh air. No references to the party, martial, or socialism, but pure festive cheer. The focus is instead on wishes for health, success, and joy, all broad, universal hopes. While the third verse could be read as socialist realism, I find myself agreeing with it. We should all want to see prosperity in the north, even fierce critics of the regime. For the first time this year, we have Choguge Dehan Nore, the most overplayed song of all. If the DPRK had charts, this would be the one that doesn't budge from the #1 spot for months. But more than that, this song is a trendsetter. With its rather rudimentary title, call it the introduction or precursor to a newly emerging style of song that I think is better explained via the next track. The most common translation for Choguk is motherland. So what happens when we add the word for mother, as this song does? Omoni Choguk gives us motherland. Okay, that doesn't work. We could simplify it to motherland, but then the song might as well be called Choguk. Therefore, I prefer mother country as the translation, maintaining this nuance in English. But what about the song itself? It's hard to know how to feel about it, because it perfectly embodies the current prevailing trend in the DPRK music scene, which I can describe in 2 words: power ballads. More than ever, emphasis is being placed on operatic performance and sheer vocal talent. In the West, a cynic might call it showing off. The belted notes and sustained climax of this song would have once been considered egoistic. It's practically a key change. So instead of moral certainty through restraint, we have seen confidence through abundance in many of the songs we've seen tonight, but especially this one. Another thing that comes to a head here is a trend that has quietly come to dominate new music. I call it naturalization. It seems the propaganda and agitation department have finally come to realise that the ideological effectiveness of a song is not proportionate to the amount of changunims thrown in the lyrics. Instead, songs like these are deeply pious and patriotic, boosting morale and motivation without needing to explicitly name anything political. Dedication to the land itself becomes the main motivating factor. Last song, and it's another new one. Fly Forever National Flag, or literally, the Eternal National Flag. Can we get a moment of silence for the lack of our national flag as the finale, which has closed nearly every New Year's event for the last 5 years? Instead, we get this far shorter replacement. I can't lie, I enjoy this. Again, all of the ideology is contained within a single idea. Can you guess what it is? Militarism does come into play. It's minor key, which suits Kim Byu-kyung's low register perfectly, but it gives it a much more threatening sound compared to the other two. It sounds like a song of revolutionary struggle. I never said it was a game changer, but sonically, it's my favourite of the new 3. Lyrically, my favourite is New Year's Wish.
아침은 길
After another Fergie-style national anthem, we're finally at an end. Now, it's time for the Kim Dex. Okay, Kim mentions are all in the single digits, falling within Nenara and the children's section. And even then, the leaders feel more incidental to the song's lyrics, rather than the sole focus. If you're wondering, the one Kim Jong-il reference was in the Children's Union March. The last score is uncharacteristically low. For comparison, in last year's concert, there were 27 references to the Workers' Party of Korea. Now we don't have a single one. It seems they were all concentrated in the 80th anniversary concert in October, and they expect a lot more following the soon-to-commence 9th Party Congress. The Kim Dex isn't a foolproof assessment of a concert's revolutionary content, I know, but it's a visually simple, numerical insight. So how should we interpret this score? I wouldn't say we're at the stage of massive musical reform, but differences, small though they are, begin to pile up when you put them together. The lack of explicit political language in favour of more general patriotism, increasingly individualistic vocalizing, and slightly more varied instrumentation. But the DPRK has a tendency to rein things in following new experiments. We'll just have to wait for the next concert and see. This was a new experiment for me, and I hope it wasn't too jarring. It's hard striking the balance between formal and informal when talking about a country that's so polarizing. And of course, music is subjective, so everything stated is my opinion. Whether you love or hate the Kim Ok-ju era, thank you for making it to the end. It's unlikely that I'll be able to do this for every concert, but I'm sure this won't be the last video of this kind on the channel. See you then. Bye.